Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2023. This is the first video that I'm shooting out of my new studio setup. And as we lead into this year, I'm gonna talk about this looming recession that you have been hearing about for a year plus. It's like every news channel and every news outlet is just saying, hey, there's gonna be a recession, there's gonna be a recession. And that is probably true because enough people are saying it. But we're gonna talk about exactly what that means to your creative business. I'm gonna talk about the 2 recessions that I've been through and what it meant to my creative business. And then we're just gonna talk about the reality of it's probably not gonna be as scary as what you might think. So let's jump in and dig into Recession 101 for creative freelancers and agency owners. The stock market just finished its worst year since 2008, and I was in the heart of 2008 stock market downturn. In fact, my biggest investments I put in 2007. It's when I started to really dump a lot of money into the stock market. And then 2008, all my principal, the money I'd actually invested, went down. It wasn't my gains that went down, it was my actual money that went down. So it was pretty rough emotionally on me. I was young enough and novice enough in investing that I didn't really know how to handle it. And my overhead of my business was big, which made it especially scary for me. And it can be scary to go through a recession. Like I said, I've been through 2, and I'm gonna talk to you about each of those and how it impacted my business and what you might expect for your creative business as we enter into this looming recession. Now, side note, I'm not an economist. I'm not, in fact, I got a D in Econ 101. Now, admittedly, it's not because I'm dumb, it's because it was my bad semester of my freshman year. You know, the semester that people have when you don't exactly go to class and you don't exactly try very hard. That was my semester. So Econ 101, it was rough for me. I'm not an economist. This is just me talking from my experience. I have a lot of investment experience and I've been doing that for 20 something years. And I've seen these 2 recessions, but take some of my financial advice with a grain of salt. My goal here is to help you see what this recession might do to your business. First, let's define a recession. It's a significant, widespread, and prolonged downturn in economic activity. Blah, 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 in non-mumbo jumbo terms, it's a sucky economy. It's a sucky economy where there's higher unemployment, there's less spending, there's cost cutting, there's price increases and inflation, like all the bad stuff that can happen in an economy tends to happen during a recession. Bloomberg had an article where economists say there's a 70% chance of a recession in 2023. But what does that even mean? What does it mean? Like, if you've never been through a recession, it sounds scary. Oh no, the sky is falling. But what does it really mean? How long will it last? What kind of an impact is it going to have on your business? In the past 100 years, there have been 15 recessions. Let's take a look at each of these recessions. We won't go through them all, but this is a Wikipedia data, so you know it's true. It's actually true, but anyway, we're gonna take a look at the 15 recessions that have happened in the past 100 years. You can see here on the top, there's the name of the recession, the period and range, the duration in months, time since the previous recession, like how long was the economy good before we went into a recession, the peak unemployment rate, and then the decline in the gross domestic product, GDP. So the first one we're going to start with here is the Great Depression. You can see it started August of 1929, that it lasted 3 years and 7 months. This is the longest of all the recessions. And the amount of time before that one was 1 year and 9 months. Unemployment hit 24.9% in 1933, and the economy declined by 26.7%. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see that after the Great Depression, there were 4 years and 2 months where things were pretty good, and then a 1-year recession. That's the recession of 1937, 1938. Another recession that lasted 8 months in 1945. After 6 years and 8 months of good times. Recession in 1949 that lasted 11 months. 3 years and 1 month after good times. 1953, another 10-month recession. 58, an 8-month recession. Recession of 1960-61, 10 months. 11 months on this one. And look at this. This was 8 years and 10 months of good times, and then an 11-month recession. And the GDP only declined by 0.6%. Here we go, 1973, 9% unemployment. Recession lasted 1 year after 3 years of good times. 1980, a 6-month recession. 1981-82, a 1-year recession in 4 months. 8-month in early 90s, a recession. And before that, 7 years and 8 months of good times. And not even a very big decline as you look here on this 1.4%. The early 2000s, so this is the one where I started freelancing. It was an 8-month-long recession. It was 10 years after the previous recession. Unemployment only hit 6.3%. Then we had the Great Recession, my other recession. 2008 is when it hit me, but they say it started in 2007. That recession lasted 1 year and 6 months. And then there were 6 years of good before that. This was the start of my agency. 2002 until 2007, I had this awesome run because we weren't in a recession time. And then things were good running for 10 years and 8 months. 10 years and 8 months after the Great Recession. And did you even know there was a recession in 2020 that only lasted 2 months? 2 months. It was the COVID-19 recession. It was a blip. It was over before anybody even knew that it even happened. We know that there was the COVID-19 downturn and stuff, and we're still feeling some of that now, but the stock market rebounded after this little 2-month blip. And now it's down again, and we're going to see it be one of these recessions that is a year and 6 months. That's a 10-month recession. That's an 8-month. That's a 12-month. We don't know what it's going to be, how long it's going to be. But based on the history, look at the last batch of recessions since 1973. This one was 1 year and 4 months. This one was 6 months. This is 1 year and 4 months, 8 months, 8 months, 1 year and 6 months, 2 months. It's not like these recessions are going to last for 7 years. It's not going to be that economic downturn. And likely, there's going to be a good run of good economy afterwards. Because look here, 10 years of good economy before that recession, 6 years of good economy before this one, 10 years of good economy before this one, 7 years and 8 months of good economy before this one. So we're going to hunker down. We're going to get through this little recession time. And then we're going to have this awesome run of our creative business that happens afterwards. Okay, so here's some takeaways from this little analysis. First thing, we are due for a recession. Like we're overdue for a recession. We've had a good, strong run of good economies around the world. Another takeaway is that it probably isn't going to last long. As you saw in the data points, it's not like a recession is going to last us a decade. It's not going to be this economic downturn that lasts super long. And it will likely be followed by years of great economy, where things are booming again. That's what follows these recessions. And I've seen that twice in my professional career. And we can see that in the data points as well. Here's what happened in my 2 big recessions. My first recession, 2002. 2002, I was a creative director at Fox Studios. I was living in LA. I had an office in the Die Hard building, the Nakatomi Plaza. It's actually called the Fox Plaza. My office was in there, and I had this sweet office space overlooking Beverly Hills, and everything was hunky-dory and going good. This was I started there in 2000, but in 2001 and 2002, this recession started to happen. Hey, here's a shot of the younger Mike Janda in front of the Fox Plaza back in the day with my badge on, my little Fox badge on. They were fun times. It was fun times. Now, in this era, this recession hit. Fox sold our divisions to Disney. Disney rebranded Fox Family as ABC Family, and they took the Fox Kids assets and then started to put them onto their various channels and stuff. Now, some of the marketing managers and marketing directors started to land other jobs because we were going through massive layoffs at Fox during this buyout and during this recession. And these are 4 of my friends who landed other jobs. My friend here landed at Warner Brothers. These 2 went to ABC Family, and this friend went to Sony, and they became my very first clients. Now, because the internal teams had laid people off, these were now managers without internal teams to do the production, design, creative work. And they started to ask me to do work for their brands. No internal teams, they still had work. They needed to find freelancers and external agencies to do the work. Boom, it forced me into freelancing. And if you look at it that way, I never would have just jumped ship and gone freelancing. I had a great job. I liked my job. I liked working at Fox. It was exciting and fun and a huge brand, and I had a great title and great salary. But freelancing became even better than what my life would have been staying at Fox. So this recession in 2002 forced me into this new path, and it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened in my career. It was good. Now, 2008 was a little bit different. 2008, I had been in business for 6 years. We had office space that I had purchased. I bought this space back in like end of 2006 or something. So 4 years in, and we were here during 2007, 8, 9, and then a year after that. I'll talk more about that here in a second. And this is a shot of the team and their spouses and family, kids during our company party back in this 2007, 2008. So things were going great at my agency, and then 2008 hit, and the economy tanked, and I was scared to death because I had this overhead that I didn't have in 2002. So what did it do to my business? Well, it forced me to refine my business. I had to start looking at things that I didn't look at during the heyday. I refined the services that my agency offered. I started to track my data. Like, I tracked my data before the recession, but man, I got into the minutia of tracking the data of my business during that recession because I needed to sustain the life of the business. I improved efficiency. We started to do projects better, faster, smaller team. And one of the best things that happened is that I purchased this awesome studio space. It was just a shell space that I got to design out and turn into the studio space of my dreams. I bought this space it wasn't pennies on the dollar, as they say, but it was significantly discounted because the person who owned this bought it during the heyday, built this building, and then was going to sell out these condo spaces. And then the economy tanked, and they were sitting on a big loan, so they needed to dump the spaces for cheaper. So with that perspective, I never would have gotten that space at the price that I got it had there not been a recession. So in that perspective, it was good. I refined my business. I improved my data. I improved my efficiencies. I improved my proposals, contracts, like pricing, everything got overhauled. And I landed this awesome studio space. So many good things came out of going through that recession. Now, when you're going through it, it's easy to get lost and feel like everything is bad. But the truth is if you start looking at the silver lining of the new opportunities that are coming for your business, you can see the great things that come out of a recession. And let's talk about what does it mean for your creative business. There's 5 things that I want to highlight for you that it means for your business. Now, number 1, let's just put this in stone right now. You will survive it. If you've gotten to now in your creative business, last year, 2022, was a rough year financially. Like I said, worst stock market downturn since 2008. If you're still going now, if you survived until now, you're gonna survive just fine. Number two, you will grow from it. It will force you to grow in ways that are uncomfortable sometimes, but necessary. Man, we always grow the most when things are tough. And I look back on the tough times in my business and in my life, and those are the times that I grew the most. Number three, it will be over probably before you know it. In fact, the way that these things usually play out is that sometime next year, they'll say, hey, we're in a recession, and it actually started in August of 2022. The economists will come out with some kind of a thing like that. So it's gonna be over before you know it. We're probably already a good chunk of the way through it. Number four, big growth will follow. I saw this firsthand twice. The recession hit, and then there were years and years of good, solid economic conditions. And number five, your clients will have new needs. They are gonna be looking for efficiencies. They're gonna refine their services. They're gonna refine their brands. They're gonna be looking to make improvements to their business. And that's gonna generate opportunities for you. And those new clients are gonna find you. 2002, go back to my life, I wasn't even looking to go freelance, but the freelance clients were just falling from the sky for me. And the same thing can happen to you, and it'll be forced upon you through a recession. Like I said, there have been 15 years of recessions in the last 100 years. Not quite 15 years. There have been 15 recessions in the last 100 years. That means there were 85 non-recessions in the last 100 years, or 85 good economies. Man, those odds are in your favor. They're in my favor too. They're in everybody's favor. You've got to trust that people are going to be creative, that they're going to figure out how to realign their businesses and make money. And these non-recession years, which dramatically outweigh the recession times, are going to be awesome. You just need to hunker down and get through some of these scary moments. I know it can be scary because I've been through a couple of them. I don't think you need to be as scared as the media is trying to make you. And there are so many good things that can come out of these moments of recession. They were the catalyst to huge growth and opportunity for my business in two big ones. Okay, thanks a lot. If you like this video and this type of content, please give me a follow, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment in there. Have you been through a recession before? Are you nervous about this upcoming recession? Did this video help? Did it help you see the silver lining that a recession isn't all bad? And it's not gonna last very long, and it doesn't happen very often. Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see you again in the next video.